boroughs. The Chelsea Market here, these were old food factories used to be down here. You'll see signs for NBC on this. That's not the TV channel. That's the National Biscuit Company, or Nabisco. That building is actually the birthplace of the Oreo. And that's very close to, we had an old freight line that went out of the Penn Station rail yards. It was built in the 1930s, came all the way down, actually through the Holland Tunnel. And it was open for 50 years. Then we closed it, and it was a big line, so we didn't get around to tearing it down. And a while it was all overgrown. It was kind of nice up there. There was sometimes taking people up there walking around, and then we get chased out by the police because that was illegal. But it was nice, so we thought, well, can we do something with that? So we redid that as a park. And you have this elevated park there called the High Line, which has become very successful. And this whole area, this was known as the Meatpacking District. So you have that old steakhouse, which is one of the things left over from the meatpacking days. Okay, so you established 1868. That's older than me. But this used to be a very different neighborhood. I mean, when I was a kid, if you walk through this neighborhood, the streets were literally red with blood. Yeah. Well, from the meat, because all the meat from all the country would come here and they'd chop it up and send it out to the restaurant. They were doing that in like the wee hours of the morning, but the blood was still there in the daytime. It was kind of getting smelly too after a while. Yeah, it was a pretty creepy neighborhood. But then it all changed. A lot of the meat packing places left. There's some other things going on here too. I'm not going to get into it, young ladies. But maybe the gentleman, yeah. Just let's say when you have a neighborhood with a lot of truck drivers, you have services for truck drivers. That's all. You can figure that out when you're older. But anyway, that was all here. Now it's all fixed up. Where we once had sides of beef hanging, we now have the latest fashions and designers and boutiques and restaurants. And this makes no sense to me, because this was the scariest neighborhood in town when I was your age. I mean, I would walk through here a little faster, even in the broad daylight. It was like just a little not pleasant. But anyway, 14th Street brings us to the neighborhood that's ahead of us, and that's called Greenwich Village. That's a lady. No, well, she wasn't looking. Now she's holding up the bus again. She doesn't know where she's going. All right. Anyway. Anyway, Greenwich Village on your right now. Greenwich Village used to actually be a village. This goes back to the days, the colonial days. New York City was just the southern tip of the island, and that was a very little city, but it was a city. And that city was actually more noisy and more crowded than the big city is now. It's hard to imagine, but it was. And that meant you didn't want to live there, but you had to work there. That's always a problem. You know, where you work is kind of it. But and you find a nice place to live, but can you get to work on time the next day? That's the trick. Now the thing is, remember, 200 years ago, we didn't have these buses. Transportation technology was 1 horsepower.